everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Tiffany, and my husband and I are the owners of Creative Designs by Tiffany, a floral shop and event space located in upstate New York. While we'll continue to talk about the original flowers and floral arranging, we're expanding to talk about everything I love and nothing that I don't. Thanks for giving us a listen. And today I'm officially saying this is the start of season 3. So I have
Even though it's not the start of a new year.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
not
right.
quite the start of a new year. I seem like always in December I start the new season.
you do.
So I've got a little bit on this that Dave doesn't even know I'm going to say it. So here we
Oh,
go.
good Lord.
Yeah, I know. Cross your fingers. All right. So we are back for a third season of Tiffany Talk. While we still love talking florals, we seem to be on a higher, more meaningful purpose as the seasons progress. And with each season, it shows more and more. I have been tending to feature things and people who have a depth to them, and while I can't believe we're entering the third season, really can't believe it's been 3 years, I'm also grateful for the platform and content that just keeps on coming. Originally just started to give you a little bit of knowledge about the floral industry, this podcast has grown to hold some of the most meaningful conversations of my life. I hope it blesses you in your own way and gets you thinking. Have a great holiday season, and that is going to go on the show notes.
And you didn't just memorize that?
No,
what's
I
wrong
didn't.
with
I
you?
was looking. I know I couldn't. I thought I might be able to, and I might be able
good.
to get
Yeah.
it back there. But that's what today I have a guest with me today that's going to go right into it. But first off, Dave Warner, producer. You'll hear him. Here he is.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, very nice. He's the one who holds it all together and
Yeah.
says, "I need the show notes. I need all this stuff. Send me what it's about. All of that good thing." So, and then I am so happy to introduce today Bobby Paul, Robert Paul.
Yeah,
What would you?
Bobby's fine.
Bobby's
Yeah.
good. All right. So Bobby Paul, who has written a book. He's local to this area. So upstate New York area. I'm not even sure how he started thinking about writing a book and everything, but I got a little excerpt here and there, and I said I got him on the podcast if he hasn't been on one yet already for the My Little Falls people. So luckily,
Which
it
is
worked out.
everywhere. We're
I know
everywhere.
it is. It is, and there's a couple different podcasts that come out of here and stuff. And I said I don't know if you're into hockey.
Couple.
Hockey would definitely be
Yeah.
the one I would never be able to
CNY
bump
Hockey
it.
Report. Yeah,
Yeah.
Scott does a great job.
Yes.
Yep.
So I said, it's one of those things. I said, I'm going to reach out to you, see if you're able to do it. And luckily you are.
I'm
so,
ready.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming in.
Well,
so,
thank you for having me. It's
Yes.
a pleasure meeting both of
yes,
you.
no problem. No problem. So, all right. So Bobby works at a school at
Yep.
the same time and works in real estate right
Correct.
now.
Yep.
But we got to go back a little bit because you wrote a book.
Yeah.
So the book is called, I don't know if Dave's going to put it up there on the screen if you want to see it. If you're just listening, it is called Worry Free Zone, and I can't see that far.
Yep.
Unveiling the Warrior Within, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And this book is coming soon, not quite out, or will it be out?
So depending on when this podcast airs, which I'm assuming probably the next couple of days.
Pretty quick.
He's
yeah.
very
If I didn't
quick
have
on-
a meeting right after this, it would
Yeah.
be like an hour or two after that.
Oh,
But
wow.
this afternoon, late, probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
So we're
Excellent.
on Friday, December
So
8th.
actually, what we're looking at right now, I'm working with Get It Right Publishing, Melanie Lapata, and the last time I talked to her, which was yesterday, she was aiming to possibly have the the electronic version on Amazon
Awesome.
Okay.
available possibly tonight, maybe tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Kindle.
So we're
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
there on the
You're
timing.
right there.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So
Yep. And then, of course, if you wanted like a hard copy, you could order it, and it'll take a little bit longer. But
very cool. And that I'll ask you that again at the end, but it's going to be on Amazon. You can
Yeah.
get it anywhere, basically that the publisher is and stuff, which is very cool. And the
Yeah.
Kindles are very nice because you can get
Yeah.
them instantaneously. So
Yeah.
awesome. So
I read Kindle stuff all the time.
do you?
Yeah.
And it's instantaneous, so you don't have to
Yeah.
wait for it to come in the mail.
yeah, for those who like instant gratification, it's
yeah. That's very
convenient.
Well, and they have a monthly subscription, so you can get all kinds of
Yeah.
Kindle stuff kind of for free. So it's
Yeah.
or not free, but based on that monthly subscription. So
I didn't
yeah.
realize
Yeah.
that too.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's subscription based, I
Yeah.
guess now, right? So
Yeah.
that
I think
works.
it's $9.99 a month. If I
Okay.
Yeah.
remember what they're charging me, but
Very
That's why they do the subscriptions.
yeah, because you
Yeah.
totally forget. It's
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're like, I have no money in the account. Why?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, that's why.
right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Your bank account just has a bunch
Yeah.
of
yeah,
Well, awesome. Well, anyway, so this book now that I kind of saw some of the excerpts, we'll say, and stuff with it too. So basically, you had cancer.
Yes,
Right? So
correct.
bring us back to kind of that portion of your life and kind of where you decided to write the book, why you decided to write the book. So
Yeah, so I went through my my cancer battle in 2020 in the middle of COVID, and as you'll read in the book, I had a lot of, I call them in the book winks from God in
Yep.
my book,
Yep.
where I feel like he really took over and took charge of my life from that point on. And I just thought that, so I had a friend of mine's mom always used to tell me when I was a kid, you got to write a book. You got to write a book. You need to write a book. So I was like, what would the point be in my book? So, but after I went through this, I'm like, I think this might help some people if I do this. And I could do it in a way where I could use it to help others who are needing support, but also I could use these funds to help other people who are fighting cancer and in need. So that was my main motivation, just to kind of share my story, use it as a fundraiser.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's amazing in and of itself, because even if you don't read the book, you're helping somebody by it being a fundraiser for people that need help with it.
Correct,
So
yeah.
on top of it, though, I think there's quite a bit of depth that you have in this book. And because I haven't read it quite yet, I read one of the excerpts that you sent me too.
Yep.
And I think there's a little bit more of I don't want to say a purpose, but probably more like kind of a purpose behind it. It's not just like, this is what happened to me. I had cancer, got over it, had this doctor, this is my treatment. There
Right.
was more of a layer to it, right? So,
Yeah, there was. So when I first got diagnosed, you know, I was not in a good place mentally, obviously, but before I had even been diagnosed with cancer, my life was very stagnant. You know, I was having some mental health issues, and I just didn't feel like I was at my full potential, just personally, mentally, physically, all
Yeah.
around as a human. And I just felt like I could do better, but I was 40 years old, so I was like, well, it's kind of too late, you know?
and I think there's a lot of I think there's
Not
a
if you're my age.
Yeah.
You got plenty of time, son.
Yeah.
and I think there's a lot of people sometimes that are like that. That it's not
Yeah.
that quite midlife crisis, but kind of like
Yeah.
you get used to doing the same old, and what's next for you.
Yeah,
So,
I was kind of like, really, is this it? Is this my purpose? I feel like I always wanted to do more. And, I was very fortunate. I worked at the college here in Herkimer, and it was a great place to work. I worked with a bunch of great people, and they were very instrumental during my cancer battle with support. But it just wasn't. Self gratification was lacking for me, and I'm like, I can have a bigger impact on people than what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
And I thought, when I got sick, I'm like, maybe this is God intervening in my life because I'm not doing what He wants me to do, and maybe I do have a little bit of survivor's guilt, and I get PTSD, and it's hard. That is a struggle, but I try to remind myself. I feel. And I used to say this when I was in the hospital. I don't know what it was, but I had this feeling that, Bob, you're getting through this, and there's a purpose. He's going to use you for a messenger.
Yep.
And He wants you to share your story and not to force it on anyone. I share my story, and then I'll tell you what happened to me, and then it's up to you. You make the decision how you,
Yep. Which is amazing. And that's the best way I think you can do it, because like Dave and I have talked a little bit about this and stuff on here, and different guests that I've had on. It's there, and it's like it's part of your life. That's how you live it. And if people see it and then they ask questions, and then you can answer your questions now.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what's happening in this book then. So, not just anybody that has cancer, and like I said, without reading the whole book, but you can kind of tell us like, how did you decide what points were going to go in? Was it to, help somebody who is going through cancer? Is it to kind of give somebody hope that's just like me and Dave that may not have a cancer diagnosis?
It started off as, I wanted to help cancer patients that were going through that's how it started, because when I was going for my outpatient treatments at Faxton, that was about 8 months. I was going there every day except on weekends, of course, but and you sit in that room, and I was actually fortunate because I wasn't as physically sick as the other people were getting treatment. And it's just, you see, that room does not discriminate.
Yeah.
There's all ages, male, female, boys, children, grown people. And I'm looking around, and I'm just like, oh my God, I got it. If I get through this, I need to help these people somehow. And I also wanted to help the people that cared for me too. The nurses were very instrumental in my care. I was lucky to have great nurses. But it kind of, that was the main goal. But then as I like I said, I work at CVA now as a teacher's aide, and I work in a school, and I started noticing like these high schoolers really gravitating towards me. And I'm like, you know what? I could use this story and kind of put my youth in and be there for these kids and explain them to them if they're struggling. I'll give you two perfect examples. Like you said, I was on another podcast, and
We don't say that here.
we don't say, I won't say the name.
No, you can say
No, you
it.
totally can't.
I was just messing with you. I knew I could hit you with that. Yeah.
So, but like, I'm not kidding you. Like yesterday in school, I couldn't believe how many kids were coming up to me. And
Cool.
and so I started getting text messages. One kid reached out, like, I was having a hard time. Your podcast helped me. And then, and it snowed. I'm like,
So cool.
this is what I'm doing it for.
Well, kids listen to podcasts.
do.
They do.
And the most amazing thing that happened to me yesterday is this kid. I won't say his name because they're probably going to listen, and I don't want to embarrass them.
Or watch.
Right, right.
So if you flash his picture,
Yeah, I see you.
yeah.
So he came into class yesterday. He goes, "Geez, Mr. Paul," he goes, "that was awesome." He goes, "I'm going to tell you," he goes, "I think I want to go to church now." And I'm like, I just said, "That's awesome.
Wow.
That's your choice.
Yep,
I'm sharing my story.
that's awesome.
I'm not forcing it on you. If that's what you want to do, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
If you don't want to do it, I love you anyway."
Right. So seeds, even though that
Yeah.
you're, just planting the seeds, and everybody that your influence. I'm
Yeah.
sure. they're just,
Tiffany's
like,
into
so cool.
seeds.
I'm into
Yeah.
seeds.
Yeah,
So,
so
see, that's
be
planting
careful.
the flowers.
That's
Like, yes.
I heard that.
Yes, yeah. So, well, seeds all the way around. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
But that is very, very cool, and so it's working, I guess,
Yeah.
and that's even without having the book out.
Yeah,
and,
the book-
And think about that.
Well, then, now they're all like working me over. They're like, "Yeah, Mr. Paul, can I get the book?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll let you know."
Yeah.
when
How
it's
many
out."
free copies you got to get
well,
out?
then-
Yeah.
Well, now, Mr. Paul, you think you can like?
Yeah.
Sign?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's got to be.
I told my wife, "Get the credit card out."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll be
cool.
buying some.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though. Well, that's very cool. So then,
Yeah.
take me back for a minute here too. So you came from this area. So anybody
Mm-hmm.
who's listening too. So like in high school and like their kids' age, what was your life like? Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So, pretty much, there's going to be a lot of people locally reading this book that are like, "Oh boy!" But guys, don't panic. I didn't put the juicy details in. I promise.
Relatable.
Yeah.
That's the best part. It's going to be relatable.
And besides,
Yeah.
young kids, their records are sealed.
Yes.
So, you
exactly. But I think it will be for like a lot of people in this area, very nostalgic and bring back some memories. And I told the kids, like one of my kids, I let read a page one day. I'm like, "Go ahead, read it." And I'm like, I was young once too, I mean,
Yeah.
like there's stuff in there. Yeah, we partied when we were younger and stuff like that. And I went. My parents were strict on me about school. They really wanted me to get an education, but I just did not like school.
I hear you on that one.
Yeah, like
yes.
I didn't like it. And I mean, I liked the social aspect of it, but I couldn't find anything that interests me enough to really pay attention. So I drove my teachers absolutely nuts. So all my teachers out there, I'm getting paid back now because I work in a school. And the kids are 10 times worse now. No, I'm just kidding. But I was a class comedian. I feel like everybody.
Geez, I relate to him totally now.
Yeah.
See, and that's really as you're talking, I'm like, you're so relatable to people
Yeah.
on every level that I feel like they're just going to want to
Yep.
read this book.
Yeah,
But
and
not
I
to
was
distract,
I was a
but
troublemaker in the class
Yeah.
clown.
Yep.
I was.
Hated
Yep.
everything.
I was. I'm
With
like,
their-
I got to do something to just distract myself. Like,
Yep.
Yep.
But
Well, Spitballs worked for me. But
no, we did that. We did do that. Yeah.
Don't get ideas. I know your kids that are listening now when you go back to school.
Yeah. My main.
I could pick off your eyebrow at 50 yards, dude. So,
Listen, Spitballs is nothing compared to what they do now.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
true.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
That's
God.
true. That is
But
true.
and don't get any ideas.
Yeah, yeah.
Spitballs. It's
Yeah.
a '90s thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
90s. I would-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez, I know.
90s, yeah.
They all make fun of me. They're like, "Oh, Mr. Paul's stuck in the '90s." I'm like, "The '90s were great. You had
Yes,
no idea."
They were.
Yeah, but no, I was a class comedian. I just barely got by. I had lots of friends. I like to think I don't think many people had much negative to say about me. I just yeah, I got along with everybody. I was but it just like my parents used to tell me, you got to get your grades up. You're not doing your homework, and in one ear out the other. And my stepdad was always big. He's like, this is gonna come back and bite you. You're getting in a habit, and it's just gonna snowball and snowball. He goes, it might be 20 years from now, and you're gonna look back
Good advice.
and say he was right. So I guess whatever, you were right. But yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you this then. So what do you think about that you're writing a book now? If you were not the school kid and obviously not looking to write a book, how did that work for you? Writing and editing?
Yeah. So that was interesting because I think I probably had read maybe 3 books my entire life. 2 of them were pro wrestling books.
Yep.
Yeah, big pro wrestling fan. So
Wrestlers can write?
yeah, apparently, I guess.
jeez.
Yeah, some of them are good.
Ghost
actually.
Riders.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So Melanie, her friend Sue, that we all went to high school together. She's like, hey, she goes, you're tossing this idea around about this book. I have someone who can help you.
That's awesome.
I'm like, oh my God, I forgot all about her. So she's like, get a hold of her. She'll help you. So I've always been kind of good at putting the words on the paper. And, but the problem was like the commas and like all that stuff. Like the first time I sent it over, she's like, holy cow, I don't think I've ever seen this many commas ever.
That's why they have Grammarly.
Yeah.
You know?
So she's like, this might take a little bit longer. I'm like, I totally understand. I'm sorry. I'll give you a tip, whatever I got to do.
Yeah.
But she's been awesome. Like,
That's very cool.
yeah, I didn't want to give up on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
We moved last year, so it was like I had half the book done, and then it kind of sat there, and she got back to me. It was pretty cool because she wrote me. She's like, "Hey, just a reminder, you didn't give up, so don't give up on this."
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
Awesome.
And I was like, "Let's go."
Yep.
So,
Yep. And that's similar to, I think, when Pete, we had him on too about
Yep.
his book. He did the same thing. Shelved
Yeah.
it for a little bit, and then his daughter was his motivation to keep
Yeah.
moving with it. So that seems to be
Yeah,
a
I'll
common
get to
theme
that
with
in a little
books.
bit,
Yes.
too.
Yes. So yeah, let's bring your daughter in now. So she is sitting here in the studio.
Yeah.
Leah, who is, how old is she then?
she is 8.
8 years
Yeah.
old. Okay.
She's sitting there behind
So,
me, just
yes.
making like,
There she
hey.
is.
Yeah,
She's
in
so
the
well
back there.
behaved.
Chilling out.
I know.
Yes.
Is that usual?
I gave her 4 Benadryl before we I'm kidding, everybody. Relax.
We see that jokester
Yeah.
now in him. So
Look at her. She's shaking her head
that's
at me.
amazing.
All right.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you think, Leah?
Well, come on in here, Leah.
This
so
is actually perfect, too, because I'll make a little announcement.
You can
Very
sit
nice. How
next to your dad a
exciting.
little
Yes.
bit closer.
sit a
Leah,
little
do you
bit
wanna
closer. You'll
put
be
that
on
on?
the picture
Yeah, you
there
gotta
too.
get right close to him.
Yeah.
You want a microphone?
Oh,
Is that what you need? No?
no?
No.
All right.
Do you want to be
All
able to hear?
Do you
Can
want
you hear
the
us?
headphones?
Yeah.
You can
Oh.
put the
Put the
headphones
headphones
on. There you
Okay.
go. Now you can hear us.
Wow.
You
it's
can hear us
very
well,
loud.
right?
Yes.
Come on.
Are you
right over.
going to speak? Because if you're going to speak, I got to turn that microphone on.
Do you want to speak? Yeah, you'll speak.
You can
right?
speak. All right. Let me move it for you.
Yeah, no problem.
So Dave, producer over here, he's very good at this stuff.
Look at this.
So he's gonna get Leah all set up here. See, you can't learn this in school.
No.
See, that's part of the,
Oh, what do you think of that,
Wow. What do you think?
Leah? Can you say like mic check 1? Oh, you got to go.
Mic check 1.
Oh, man.
Be on.
Look at this.
Mic check 1.
Oh, there you
Yep,
go.
there you go. You're on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, and this is part of your motivation for the book too, right? And part of motivation for your life, obviously, right?
It really is, yeah.
Okay, so explain that to me. So, what were you thinking, like?
Yeah.
You know.
So the day that I got the diagnosis, my wife and I were upstairs, actually doing laundry, and Leah was downstairs, and I had to hold it together. That was the hardest part of the whole thing. I didn't care about myself at all. It was all about her. She was 4.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah, you're 4. So I'm like, all right, I got to hold it together. I got, Daddy's got a boo-boo. I gave her a hug. I didn't want her to see how tough that was going to be, right? But the whole time I was in the hospital, other than, having my faith in God, the one thing that really motivated me to get out of there, I didn't know what the future was going to hold, but I did know I was going to see her one more time. Because I got diagnosed in the middle of COVID. She couldn't, 2 months,
Right.
almost 2 months I was in there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see you, huh? How did we talk? Over the computer on FaceTime? Was it? It was FaceTime, right? You could say it was FaceTime.
Had the little giggle out of her.
Yeah.
So-
Oh my God, the cat's got her tongue out.
Yeah.
So actually, we talked on FaceTime, but I could not see her.
It's got to be so hard
so-
for any
yeah.
parents that yes.
It was miserable. And I remember actually my mom and my wife bringing pictures up of her to the room, and I couldn't even handle it at first. And finally my wife called. She's like, Bob, you got to FaceTime her. So it was about 12 days in. So
Wow.
that was tough.
I can't even
Yeah.
imagine that. I'm picturing
Yeah.
it, and just 12 days of not seeing your child.
Yeah.
It's got to be rough.
So I finally FaceTimed her after like 12 days. But what I did do that she does not even know about, and I'm going to tell her and announce it to everybody right now, is I actually dedicated the book to you.
Oh, how
Leah?
exciting!
What do you mean? You knew that? What'd you do? Peek at my
You
picture?
should, if you're just listening to it, you should see her face when he said that. It was
Oh.
a very I know, Dad. I know.
You
I had a
you
feeling.
saw it on my phone. Didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
See, she was snooping through my phone over there.
Yeah, but see on the image, you've got her on the back cover with a mask on, is what I
Yeah.
can see here.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
Yep, there's that, and then there is also, I just sent over to Melanie. There's actually, it's one of my favorite pictures of us, and it is when the day that I got released from the hospital, we didn't tell her,
Oh, wow.
and Heather went in the front door, and I snuck around the back.
So cool.
Remember? And there's a picture of me where I did the dedication to her, and it's her in my arms. And that's the first time I saw her. So when you guys read the book, that picture of Leah in there is the first time she saw her daddy in almost 2 months, right?
Wow.
Fist pump, let's go.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll see if Leah will answer that. So, Leah, how do you feel about your dad writing a book?
Really awesome.
Really awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool. And you're 8 years old, so you're going to tell all your friends, too, that they have to read your dad's book? Yeah.
Yeah.
they gotta use their lunch money to pay
Yeah.
for it. Buy it on Amazon.
I
Is that
know.
the deal?
Don't even know.
Don't even
Don't
know.
even know. I wish I was still 8. That
Yeah,
would be
I know.
awesome, right?
Well, there are times.
Yeah,
Tiffany.
there are definitely there are.
Me too, trust me.
Yes. Well, very cool. So,
Yeah.
Give me a synopsis then. What do you want somebody reading, somebody listening? What
Yeah.
do you want them to get out of this?
Yeah, so basically, I wrote it like an autobiography, and I wrote it from the beginning of my life all the way until pretty much current. There's not much current stuff in there. That'll be maybe the next book.
Yeah, very cool.
We'll see.
Yes.
Yeah. So goals. What I want them to take out of it is, number one, that I'm here right now because my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ saved me and allowed me more time with my daughter because I truly feel He wants me to share His message of healing.
Absolutely.
And that's the number one thing I want them to take out of it. What they do with it is up to them. Number two, what I want them to I want them to realize that at the beginning of the book, you'll notice that I had a pattern of constantly being a quitter. I quit so much. I'd one step forward, two steps back, and I was constantly quitting. And finally, the one thing that got me to not quit was the time that I didn't have a choice not to. Yeah. Because if I quit that time, I was quitting forever. And I wasn't going to do that to Leah, and I wasn't going to do that to my family. So that's the other thing. But I did put, on the last page, I put a little, my advice to the youth. And I had like little quotes that I feel are important that they could take to, throughout their lifetime with them. Because at the same time, when we say don't quit, there are other times when I feel like sometimes you have to quit because your life might be going in a certain trajectory and someone won't take a chance on you or give you an opportunity that you're confident that you can achieve at. So if that does happen, then sometimes it's time to bet on yourself, and you do have to quit for your own good and try to better yourself if no one else will help you. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's some great advice. Definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm scrolling through because you had sent me the preface at the beginning and
Yeah.
then the I think it was the advice to the youth at the end. So
Yeah.
as you're talking and stuff, I am so excited to read this book. I'm excited to have other people read this book or even just to listen to it before they get to, because I think there's a lot of depth in here, a lot of funny things too. You seem like a funny guy. Maybe
Listen.
Are there puns in there that we can look for too?
I can tell you, like, the one thing I could tell you about the book is a lot of it isn't even about my cancer. That's the main, that's what got me to where I am today. But the beginning is a lot of just the level of goofiness that I guess my life was. For like I said, I was a goof in high school. So there's some good stories in there. I'm sure my friends will really appreciate. And just, I always felt like I sent my aunt a copy, and she wrote me back. She goes, I'm just curious. Like, she asked me the same thing. Why did you write this book? And I said, even before I got sick, I've always felt like my life was unusually interesting. And my best friend's mom used to tell me that all the time. Like, he would call me. He'd be like, come over. My mom wants to hear stories. I'm like, I'll be over. So, you want a cough drop, sweetheart? Yeah, she had that.
I come prepared with everything.
He's got everything.
Yeah.
It just slides in. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So
you need that?
you don't want it? No.
You can have it. It tastes good. It's lemon.
It's not mine.
It's
No?
No, I know, but
Yeah, I mean, he's not a stranger.
yeah.
See, that's good parenting.
That is
right there.
very good. I was going to say in the recall.
It's one that came out of my pocket that I would
There
use
you
if
go.
I needed it.
I
So,
could do a taste test on it.
I have kind of allergies too, and sometimes I get in here and you start like I'm going to cough, and
Yeah.
so I take one of those. That's
There
why
you
it's in
go.
my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw you coughing, so I was
She's
trying
very
to help.
picky, even when it comes to cough drops.
That's all right. We'll give it back then because I'll use it.
Yeah.
Too funny.
But yeah. So I mean, it's. I think a lot of people will get a kick out of the beginning of the book. Really, I really do. Like, there's some pretty funny stories in there, and then it'll be an emotional roller coaster. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and hopefully you'll get motivated. You know what I mean, Leah? So yeah, I learned a lot of lessons. I've learned more in these last 4 years than I've learned in my first probably 40.
That's amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
cool. That's
The
extremely-
gift and the curse.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
But I'm on a mission now, so
So how many people ask you, you have a second chance, what are you going to do with it? How often do you hear that? Because you talked about that issue in PTSD.
yeah, that's tough. I get that a lot, and I would say, what am I going to do with it? It's up to God what I'm going to do with it, and whatever He wants me. That was part of my problem before I got sick, is I thought I was in control and I had all the answers, and I guess I didn't realize that He's got the answers. And I'll put it this way: my life has changed dramatically, and I've been given opportunities and succeeded at things that I never thought I would even come close to succeeding at ever. I was driving around in a snowplow and mowing lawns and not happy and confident with myself. That was another thing. I always lacked self-confidence. That's a lot in the book too. And there's a lot of kids nowadays that I think will be able to relate with that, and hopefully feel my emotions in the book and kind of relate to it and be like, you know what? I should have a little more confidence in myself, because I didn't have any in my abilities, or, even my physical, like all around. And I think it depends what God wants me to do. I'm doing my part. One thing I'm most proud of, and I said this before, is when I was laying in that bed, that'll give you a whole new perspective when you're laying there. And I just feel like I got a perspective that I don't ever want to lose when I was laying in there, and I realized what truly is important in my life. And I never once asked God, please save my life.
I was just going to read that section
Never.
that you had. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
And why is that, though? Why?
Because, I feel like if I said, oh, God, please save my life, like I'm almost above anyone else who's going through something like this. Like, why? What's so special about me? Why save my life? You could save plenty of people's lives. I'm not any more special than anybody else. But the one thing I did do is, when he did save my life, I thanked him and I told him, you allowed me more time to be here with my daughter, and I will never not tell my story of what he did to me. And like I said, people could do with it what they want, but I'm pretty proud of that.
That's a
And
really, really cool perspective.
I feel that's my purpose. I really do. I'll share my story, and he can use me as his messenger, and whatever happens with it happens.
Yep. And I think you are doing a heck of a job so far,
Thank
because
you.
it's working out pretty well. What do you think of your dad? Do you think this is pretty cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for him, right? So
Yes.
that's the most important thing too. Is I think that's a thing you kind of touched upon with the youth, and then even with men and stuff. Like, that's a tough thing when you're a dad. You
Yeah.
have to be there, and your motivation was for your daughter. I think that's a very cool thing
Yeah.
too. That is inspiring for people that aren't necessarily going through the cancer battle, but maybe they want to switch it up a little bit and say, hey, there's a reason.
There's all kind. I mean, I don't know many people that don't go through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something.
Yeah, exactly. It's something. And I think that's the most relatable thing, too, from this book. It seems like what you've been saying and everything, that there's something everybody can pick out. Dave will pick out funny stories. I'll pick out that I didn't like to really read as much as you did, so
yeah.
it doesn't matter. And I think it's going to be very relatable, which is cool.
That's the cool part, is I think I can relate. There's going to be kids in high school that are going to relate to this.
Yep.
There's going to be members of my parish and my church
Yep.
that are going to relate to this. There's going to be. It's a
Everybody.
book for everybody.
Yep, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So
Yeah.
I am excited to talk about this. So I'm going to ask you one question, because all your kids might be listening to this. So what is
Sure.
one of the best stories that you've had so far, before or after, that you've had working with the kids? What's one of the most inspiring things? Like,
Well, what I would have to say, when I realized that this is a little funny too. So I didn't realize really what an impact I was having on these kids at the school. I do want to, give a quick shout out to Mr. Keeler at CVA. He's an excellent principal, and he gave me it's so weird how it happened too. We were together. I was showing him a piece of property.
yeah,
And I said, look, man, I don't know if I could do this college job. I'm getting PTSD going back there.
Yeah.
Bad. You'll also read in the book, I tried numerous promotions, and just, nobody, it is what it is. They didn't want to have faith in me, and that's okay. And it was time to move on. So he gave me this opportunity. I took a major pay cut to go there, but I didn't care, because I had 19 years in the retirement system at the time. He's like, if you come here, you can get 20 years is a big deal. So he's like, you'll make a lot less, but you'll stay in the retirement. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I talked to my wife. She was very nervous, like, oh my God, are you crazy? I'm like, Heather, I'll make it work. I promise. I'll make up with it with the real estate. I said, I'll work 5 jobs. One thing about me, I said, I'll never let us go hungry. I'll work 10 jobs. I don't care. So I got to the school, and I started noticing, like, hearing stories. Kids would come up to me. I think they relate to me because I look younger than I am. I like to think I do, at least. Right, Leah?
A little bit of that Grecian
Yeah.
formula there would work, you know?
I know. Geez.
Yeah, that beard is looking a little weak there.
Yeah, tell me about it. No, I wanted to color it. She's like, and my wife's like, "Oh, salt and pepper looks in." I'm like, "It is really?"
Leave it to your
So-
wife.
sorry I had to do that
No,
too.
listen. Trust me, I know. I'm like, all right, whatever you say,
Yeah.
babe.
That's amazing.
So yeah, why do you think I'm wearing a hat right now? So the kids always tell me that my forehead's growing. I mean, that's another thing I learned. These kids have no filter. They're like, "Oh wow, your ears are big." I'm like, "What the?" I'm like, "Thanks." I'm like,
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All the things you didn't know about
yeah,
yourself.
yeah. Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kid yesterday told me I had skinny jeans on. I'm like, geez, I'm crying. These kids are brutal.
And you didn't.
Yeah,
you had
I
the
didn't.
you had the loose fit, didn't
yeah,
you?
I don't even think they were skinny jeans. So
That's amazing.
yeah. So when I really noticed it, I think I was making an impact. It was a pep rally we did for the football team. It was like 2 years ago, and
Cool.
we did like a dance routine, and Leah kept doing this. I'm like, what is that you're doing around? What was it, Leah? Go ahead.
Huh?
The gritty.
Oh, the gritty, yeah.
Oh, so I had to learn the gritty, right? I'm like, Lee, you got to
That's good stuff.
Yeah. I'm like, Lee, you got to teach me this.
You
thing.
score any touchdowns, it's the gritty.
Well, yeah.
I don't even know what it is. So
I
I'm
do.
just going to go.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
even ask me
It's
to
an
tell
end
you.
zone touchdown
Okay,
dance
okay.
kind of thing, yeah.
So I'm like, you got to teach me this thing. I'm gonna pop this thing off at the pep rally.
Kids would love it.
They
Went berserk.
bonkers. Well, then all through the halls, all they could hit the gritty, do the gritty. I'm like, so I'm
Gritty.
grittying all over the school. I'm just like, what am I doing? So that's when I think I really started noticing it because my wife is actually a guidance counselor in Herkimer, and within 2 minutes of that happening, she texts me and said, "You're going viral in Herkimer." I'm like, "Oh no!" I'm like, "Wonderful."
That's amazing.
Oh, geez.
What's that?
Why did she not text me?
Why did she? No, this was the first pep rally.
Or was I in school?
You were in school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You missed it.
Yeah. So not, and then they.
Your
like,
dad's a TikTok video
Yeah.
now.
They just signed me up for that yesterday. The kids. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
TikTok yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm on.
CCP will be after you.
Yeah. I don't even.
I don't even know what that is.
Neither do I.
I know. I was gonna say like at the end, like where can we find you? But clearly we can
Yeah.
find you on TikTok, which I don't know what TikTok is. So
Oh.
You don't know
we
it?
don't- well, I know what it is. I don't
No.
have one.
Oh,
I don't know
okay,
how
yeah.
it works.
Well,
yeah.
she'll go on it, but I monitor her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. that
So
works.
I like when she's with me, I'll watch her, but
Yeah.
with her friends. But yeah, the kids in high school, like yesterday, I'm like, I don't know what to do. Give me your phone. It was like, I'm like, I'm on. That was it. So they love to kind of see what I'm doing at all times.
Yeah.
So, and I know most of them will be listening. And like,
I'm sorry that we took you away from school now. As
No,
I'm saying, it
it's-
was 10 o'clock on a Friday.
yeah,
so.
like
it's-
it.
Yeah. Well, they can listen to me, and I hope you all behaved in class today.
Good.
We could have gone live. I mean,
Yeah.
I could have done this show live.
That
Right.
would have been awesome.
Pushed
Then-
it.
Then
they-
nobody would have been.
I was
going
going to
to
say they would have not gone to class at all.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
Well,
Yeah.
very cool. Well, I am so happy that you got to come on and stuff. And like I said, we'll go over all the logistics now. So the book itself is going to be on Amazon and anywhere you can purchase a book.
Yeah.
Locally, are you going to have it anywhere? Or
I am. Yeah. So it like I said, I think it's going to be out so you could buy it electronically this
Okay.
weekend.
Okay, cool.
And then the hard copy, after I talked with Mel, should be. Again, Get It Right Publishing.
Yep.
I got to throw
Very
that
cool.
plug in there for her. She's awesome. And took about 6,000 commas out for me.
It's amazing.
But yeah, there will be. We are going to set it up so that they are going to be for sale locally. Maybe I'm just. I forget the place on Main Street in Herkimer. There, like
Oh, yep. I know where you're talking about.
The
They have all
community-
the old mall there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you should also, I mean, you know, Tiffany's got a store. They should be on sale
Oh,
there.
yep.
I'm going all
and,
Or, yes.
and you should have a book signing there at your place.
Listen,
yeah, that would be very cool.
That's
Yeah,
a
I mean-
great
That's
idea.
very
Yeah.
So
nice, yeah.
Melanie
I'm
floated.
full of them.
No,
He
well,
is.
Melanie floated
Producer,
the
yeah.
idea.
Producer over here, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, let's do a book signings, and I'm like, I'm like,
No, they work. And
Yeah.
actually, Rock Valley Brewing here in Little Falls has had several book signings, and they've all been very, very
Really?
successful. Yeah,
Very
tons of people coming out. You know, you can have a drink and,
Yeah.
meet the author, and you sign some books, and they get
Jeez.
to know you. So,
I don't know. I just thought it was too. I'm like, I'm not that big time. I didn't.
how do you get big time?
I
You
get-
start small.
Yeah.
How all these country western singers that
Yeah.
are big time? Where
Yeah.
did they start?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
that's
point.
true.
All the booze bars with
Well-
chicken wire up in front of them.
Oh,
So-
that is. I did want to add that also.
chicken wire.
Yeah, no, not chicken wire. No, but if it does go big time, it won't be to benefit me.
Yeah, right. But that's a good reason to have a book
Yeah.
signing and for people to know.
Yeah, and that was the one thing like I wanted to make clear is this isn't about me like putting the focus on myself or anything like that. This is my way of helping others and hopefully using these funds. They are going to go to the Faxton Regional Cancer Center where I had my treatments, and also Catholic Charities.
Yeah,
Cool.
good.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very
So I hope the book goes wild. To be honest with you,
I
because
think it will, based on
I
your
think-
humor in the podcast.
Yeah.
I think so too, and I think that, as you highlighted that too, it's
I'll-
not proceeds don't go to him. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm listening to that. Just
That's really good.
processing
Yep.
that. That's very cool.
I definitely do want to get some up at your store. So I
Yeah.
want to also
okay,
tell the
good,
listeners.
good. So you can get them at the store too. That
Yeah.
wasn't a plug on that. It was just
no,
where can you get them?
but that is awesome because I do want to tell the listeners that I did not even know that I met Tiffany
Yes.
before.
That's what the beauty of Facebook. It
Yeah.
all filters through it.
Yeah.
Him and Leah had come up to the daddy daughter dance we had a couple of years ago.
That's right.
And so I was like, I knew you from somewhere and
Yeah.
stuff, and the connections, and probably when you read through the book, there'll be more there that I'll.
Yeah.
Say, oh, I know who
You
this
could put
is now,"
stories in
so-
about Tiffany that
Yeah.
she doesn't
Yeah,
Oh,
want out
my
I
there.
know. I
God.
don't even know. I said, well, what church do you go to?
I go.
too? So
I go to Annunciation Church in
Okay.
Ilion.
Okay.
And Father Paul, there's good stories in there. He was tremendous to me and my
Okay.
family as well.
cool.
Yeah, throughout the whole thing, just amazing. And I do want to add too that there's. So I have like this core group of friends that I went to high school with, and I was sending them stories, like little screenshots, and
is
like,
this okay to publish?
oh yeah,
Okay,
I'm like,
good.
guys, like here's the deal. All right, so I was kind of like the underachiever, I guess you would say. One works for like Lockheed Martin. He's like he can't even talk about what he does.
Yeah.
We make fun of him all the time. What country are you in now? Or
Yeah.
what's your code name? My other buddy is like he's like a professor at Virginia University, but he's got like 3 different master's degrees and is an
Crazy.
engineer. Like all my friends, like another one's a dentist, another one's a sergeant in Herkimer Police Department. So I put all these stories, and I'm like, I didn't put your last names, and I didn't put the good ones. Don't worry. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
That is awesome.
So-
Well, and then for social media now, we got to get into this. So TikTok, you're on now, right? So
Yeah, Leah, what is my TikTok? I don't even know it. It's B. Drew Paul.
Reed Drew Paul.
And I got a question. Why did you say earlier why your book said all ages, even though what if 1-year-old couldn't read one single word?
Oh my God, geez, that's a tough question.
Gotta lock her up.
I guess,
know.
yeah. I think we better do an audio.
That would be a good one
Oh
too.
my goodness.
Yeah, you
Probably
could put
listen
her
to
on
a
there,
story.
yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
And I'll probably see the gritty. I'll probably see my father's TikToks every single day, seeing the gritty, and seeing like 13,000 views.
Oh my, well, that would be
That
very
would be good.
Yeah.
See?
Think we could pull that off?
No.
All right. She brutally. We teach her to be
Siskel
honest.
and Ebert right here.
Yeah.
So, very cool.
That's awesome.
Well, and then do you have a website or do you have like Facebook or
I do
connect with you, or-
Facebook. Yeah, Facebook's
Okay.
usually just Bobby Paul on Facebook.
Okay.
Is usually where most of I share most of my stuff on there. I don't really have a website or anything. It kind of all just happened so fast.
That's cool.
I wasn't really prepared. I kind of every year I did a fundraiser, and I was just kind of. But then everything just started really snowballing. I'm like, wow.
And to add to that, so being that you're not taking any proceeds from actually doing the book
Right.
to make money, you are a real estate agent though. So practically anybody around here, if they do need a real estate agent, give you a call and
There
then they
you
can
go.
support that way too.
There
so,
you go.
That's exciting then. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's on Facebook too. Or you're through Bruce Ward?
Yeah, I
or-
work with
okay.
Bruce Ward.
Okay.
I keep them separate because You know how that, I don't want people to be like, oh, sure, yeah, he's doing it for his real estate. Because honestly, no, that has nothing to do with it at all.
Okay, very good then.
Yeah.
So, well, like I said, I'm so happy that you got to come on, and I'm
Thank you
very
so much.
excited to hear about the book and local authors and stuff. So, well, I guess that's pretty much it for today.
It was
Happy holidays.
Listen, great meeting you. You guys are awesome. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Well, thank you so much. Hope you have a good day. And
Go
we'll talk to
Thunder.
you soon. Yes.